So ESPN just gonna continually hate on the Raiders all off season. That's what they gonna do. That's what they doing. Every other day is some kind of disrespect. Disrespecting dog. Guess what? I guess I had to go over to Fox to find out some of the real. Surprisingly, it was Colin Cowherd said something that kind of surprised me, but it sound kind of real. Back in with us. Welcome to the barn. Next stop, Disrespect Drive.
Just win, baby.
Guess who's back? It's your boy Black, the quarterback. Man, I don't know what's up with ESPN, but ESPN is on one this offseason. The Raiders having the greatest offseason they done had in the longest time, and they just find a way to disrespect. They find a way to hate, but it's cool though. Everything they say ain't necessarily the gospel. So I heard some things from Colin. You know, he seemed like he tried to be objective. Sometimes he gives a not so good take, but then sometimes lately he's been kind of high on the Raiders. So we're gonna check out what he gotta say and also what Cosell says himself about it. And we're gonna go over what ESPN exactly said. What's up with y'all? What's up with y'all? Welcome to the Bart, the Bay Area Raider Talk. It's your boy. So hit that like button. You gotta pay your fare to ride the Bart. This is the second time around today, y'all. Ain't nobody working harder than your boy in the off season. I'm trying to tell y'all. And it's gonna get worse for them in the regular season. It's enough room for all of us, because why? It's one nation, one nation. So what's good with y'all? Hit the like button. Show that Raider love. So let's see who up in here, because we're going to have a cool little show tonight. We'll have a cool little show. Sacktown Raider Mike, my OG up in here. Another one of my OGs. Frank Weber, you feel me? And yeah, man, ESPN doing us just like the old days, man. They doing it like the old days. CBS is too. Yeah, I agree with you. Let's take a look and see what Colin said though, because he said some very some enlightening things, some things I found to be true, and you know, it's a good outlook for us. So let's just take a look and see what they say, and let's react to them, because that's what this is about. We're gonna just kind of be like a reaction show.
But I'll tell you, I thought if I had to say what draft could pop, what team could you look at in 2 years and go, holy shit, look at that draft? I think it's the Raiders. First of all, Fernando Mendoza is going to change the trajectory of the franchise.
Agreed.
They go take Stukes, the safety from Arizona, who's an effing baller. He is a violent safety. Now he's had an injury. He can do slot corner safety.
That's true. Slot corner safety, more like safety, free safety, nickel back. I guess he considered as a corner, you know. He did get injured. Stukes did get injured, but that was a couple years ago, so I don't think that's an issue right now.
Trading Stukes.
But I guess all these guys are old.
Yeah, he's a first-day starter. They have a safety, first-day starter. Then they get McCoy from Tennessee, who, if he stays healthy, is the steal of the draft. They also get Mike Washington, who I watched enough college football, in the 4th round. It's not a good running back draft, and he's not a juke make you miss guy. But if you told me the 2nd or 3rd best running back in this draft went to the Raiders, he'll be the opposite of Ashton Jeanty. Big, physical, straight line runner, not going to make people miss. I thought the Raiders crushed. I think between Mendoza, between those two defensive backs, again, if they stay healthy, they're huge talents. I think Washington out of Arkansas, I'm like, he may be the second best back in the draft. He'll be after Jeanty. He's the off-speed pitch. Just a big physical, find hole, go straight downhill. I think John Spytek, the GM of the Raiders, John, I thought he did about as well as you can do.
When you break it down that way, in the short term.
Because they're unlike Cleveland or maybe the Jets. They don't have a million holes. They've got a tight end. They've got a back. After the first pick, they have a quarterback. They have a left tackle. They have some pieces I like. They have a center, Linderbaum. They have the kid from Oregon. I think it's JPP, the guard. They have.
Did my man say JPP? You down with JPP? Yeah, you know me.
Some
Colt
pieces.
Miller. I mean,
yeah, they're not bereft of talent. I thought the Raiders draft was amazing.
well, I think one thing we learned in the Joe Douglas Saleh era is.
Well, let's talk about that first. Let's just talk about what Colin said first. He essentially just broke down a couple of our positions. Was what kind of made him impressed is going out and getting Fernando, the quarterback, the franchise quarterback, something that we've alluded doing in a while because we were just good enough not to get in the top 5 pick, but bad enough to flirt with it all the time. But now we finally got into position where we could do it, and that's why I felt like we had to do it because we're not in that situation often. And there's a lot of things that's unpredictable. At least this year we didn't have really too many options to choose from, so we couldn't mess it up by picking the wrong one because it was either that or the boy from Alabama, Ty Simpson. And I don't think Ty Simpson would have been. I definitely wouldn't have felt. I would have been like Kirk Cousins, stay as long as you can, and we would have got Ty Simpson. To be honest, so I'm glad that we had Fernando. He seems like he's going to be a good fit, especially for Kubiak and what he's trying to do. We need a cerebral quarterback. I know all the quarterbacks are smart, but they're not all created equal. So I'm glad we got a nerdy guy in there, but he got some moxie. So I'm very pleased with Mendoza being our pick.
Bereft of talent. I thought the Raiders draft was amazing.
Well, I think one thing we learned in the Joe Douglas Saleh era is they drafted all these good players and they never had a quarterback, and it was a nightmare. And if you look at Cleveland and the Jets, really Cleveland's draft last year was excellent. Their draft this year on paper looks excellent. The Jets, now part of it, Bill Simmons made a good point. He's like, they're drafting all these good players because they traded good players to get these first-round picks. They don't have 3 first-round picks out of thin air. But the Raiders got the most important guy in the draft for all these teams that don't have a quarterback. So even if they still do have some holes, and they just look at all the guys they signed in free agency, the majority of them were on defense. And then Crosby, because of the botched trade, comes back. I mean, Crosby last year was good. That was the reason at the end of the year, they're like, stay away, Max. They pulled an NBA thing because he almost won the Houston Texans game late in the season by himself. I texted a buddy on the Texans staff. He's like, I don't know if I've ever seen a guy play that hard. So I think the whole key, and this is going to be the conversation next year with all these.
I want to stop it there because a lot of times people they're very critical of Max, and they say, "Oh, he doesn't rep games, and he's not a force multiplier." They don't use that word, but that's essentially what they're saying. That's the word I use is a force multiplier. Is like he doesn't play to the big situation. Max goes hard every play, right? And you can't, especially being a D-line, you can't get to the quarterback every play. I mean, like, you know how good it would be to have a sack every game. It doesn't happen. But the whole narrative that he doesn't wreck games, I just never really got that. And they were saying that about him the year before coming into this year. Like, Max got to play better. Max was injured. But he played on it. So that's going to limit you. And he was under 10 sacks, so people kind of was taking shots at Maxx. And then this year, a lot of people kind of tried to downplay how he played this year. He definitely played better this year. There were games that, like Brett said, Houston game that he was wrecking by himself. The Chicago game we shouldn't have lost. We lost because our defense averaged 14 points a game. I was giving us more credit by saying we couldn't get more than 16 points. We couldn't get more than 15 points. And so every time that we got the ball, we took away the ball on defense, offense gave it right back. So I mean, like it was terrible. So to when I hear other people talk about Maxx Crosby, and I'm like, a lot of people, well, actually, the league values Maxx Crosby than a lot of our own fans. We so in love with AOC because he was a Raider and we drafted him and everything. Maxx Crosby is an Oakland Raider. I mean, we go. If you know anything about Oakland, if you know anything about the town, it's not always beautiful. It's all about at the end of the day. I mean, and at the end of the day, Maxx Crosby's still a Raider, man. So we need to stop hating on we need to stop hating on the player. Stop hating on the Raider. Like you said, water under the bridge. Whatever kind of angst that you have against him, like, can you put that to the side for a little bit? I mean, dang, I thought our fans was a passionate, not emotional. Like we emotional, but to each their own. Because enough hate goes on outside of the facility. We don't need it within the nation.
Seen a guy play that hard. So I think the whole key, and this is going to be the conversation next year with all these quarterbacks. If Mendoza does become Matt Ryan or Jared Goff, the Raiders, I mean, look at what they became somewhat of a stable franchise with Derek Carr, who was a second round guy. And so if Mendoza becomes Goff or Matt Ryan, this becomes a real franchise.
So that's what he's saying. It becomes a real franchise. And I'm gonna have to agree because that's what we're trending towards. And I like that because, like I always continue to say, you win championships from the top down, not the player up. And so now that we're starting to get our heads screwed on straight and we have the adults in the room, now we can start seeing these changes that's happening at the player level. And we don't want to just be good and compete for like a year. We want to compete for multiple years because it might take us multiple bites at the apple to get this Super Bowl. But we've been so far away from the word Super Bowl. A lot of our fans has PTSD. Who know what I say PTSD stands for? Let's see if you got it in the chat. Y'all know what I call PTSD? A lot of Raider fans got that PTSD. That post-traumatic Super Bowl deficiency. Like everything that happened to us after the Super Bowls that we got, it's trauma. And it's been a long time. But now you're starting to hear it. It's not that they're thinking we're going to contend for it, but they know that we're headed in that direction and they can see it. So I don't know why a lot of us can't see it, but maybe it's the trauma. Maybe it's the trauma. Yeah, Webb say, I should have a shot. Anyone joining me? Yes, have a shot, sir. I wish I was near. I could have, if I'd have known, I would have got a shot. I have a shot of water with you, though. Cheers. Here we go. Saludos. So, yeah, you say Jimmy the Greek, Snyder, and Howard Cosell are the only guys in the business that you can actually trust. It's funny that you bring him up because I'm gonna talk about his nephew, and I was going to talk about Howard Cosell, of course, his unfortunate exit out the game. But yeah, those are the guys. Even Jimmy the Greek too. Those guys were. That's back when reporting had integrity. Now it's all about clicks and likes and views and shock and clickbait and to say anything to get a rise out of people and mislead. It doesn't even matter no more. So those used to be the days. Now, some of the things that were brought up is the players' age nowadays, about how the players are being older, like Stooks. I think it's a good thing because, I mean, he comes in already mature. Sure, he's still a rookie. He's still a young man, whether it be 24, 25, 23 in Mendoza's case. Like those guys have kind of lived out the college experience. A lot of these guys are even, uh, I'm just talking about overall that they might have a kid or married. In this case, I don't think neither one of those guys do, but I'm just saying the maturity level in general is different. So I think that's a good thing that some of the players are deciding to stay in college and develop their game at the college level.
To me, the rest of the draft, like I'm with you on the Stooks kid. He's like 6-year walk on. A lot of these guys, you go to their bio, they'd either been at 7 different schools or they came into school in 2020. I'm like, it's 2026.
John, what's interesting about these older players because of the NIL. So they stay in college. Some of these guys take pay cuts going to the pros. The downside is they're not going to be around as long. The NFL guys are like, these guys are beat up. They played 5 years of college football. Yeah. The upside is, John, they're ready to play.
I don't necessarily think the guys are beat up because in college, I mean, it's not like the pros. Because if let's say you got the 21, 22-year-old rookies and they're in the NFL, they're gonna get beat up faster than they would in college. Because in the NFL, those are grown men paying other grown people bills. So, and they get incentivized with each stat, and they have to hit these numbers at the end of the year, and they ain't waiting to the end of the year trying to get them. So they come in with bad intentions every time. In college, is you get hit by like one player, sometimes maybe two at the same time, but generally it's one player. But in the league, you're gonna get hit by a couple people, and them is grown men, like all the way grown men. You know what I'm saying? Like some of them players is like 8, 9 years older than these rookies. And so they already matured in the league and matured as men. So I don't think that it's a they get beat up thing. And I think actually for me, I think it's better if well, I'm just saying from the league perspective, it's better if the players come in older. They may come in older, but the league itself will be younger. What do I mean by that? What do you mean by that, Black? Come on, let's play a friendly game of little baseball. It's called like addition through subtraction, that kind of concept. Because sure, the player comes in at 24, 25, maybe 23, right? And that's still young. Now, relative to like a 21-year-old or maybe a 22-year-old or something like that, then you might try to make the differential difference. But they're still all young, and so you don't really think about it. Just like we're not going to think about Stooks being a 6-year senior and all that because he redshirted because of injury, and we're not going to think about that. It only matters that when you get to 30, 32 or whatever, when you start trying to look at an age, maybe depending on the position or if you get injured or not, 29, 30 or whatnot. So these players coming out of college, what happens is they'll mess around, come straight to the league, then they'll be able to produce now instead of a couple years or might sit the bench or be on special teams. These players can come in and fill needs now. So what happens? They start at 24, 23 or whatever, and they play a rookie contract. Maybe if it's a quarterback 4 years, he's 27, like Mendoza would be, probably 27, 28, right? And then what happens is instead of them being in the league so long that they get 2.5 big contracts, they only or 3 big contracts like Kirk Cousins, like you only gonna really get 2. Because once you finish your first contract, you're gonna be, I don't know, 27, 28, 29. Then you can get another big contract for like 4 years. Then now you 30, 31, 32. Now, the NFL is not for long, so a lot of players don't even, the average is 4 or 5 years. But let's just say you one of the higher echelon players and you do get multiple years. Now, when you 31, 32, somewhere in there, your contract not is going to be as big because you only have maybe like 1 or 2 years. And so that financially, that'll help the NFL. And the turnover would be cool because initially it might make a big deal the first surge, but after you start getting rotations of players coming in at that age and leaving in a 5 to 8 year window, even for your upper echelon players, the league is going to make the most money. You're going to make the more money than you would pay out the player because the player coming in young, he goes through his rookie contract, he might end up being 24. And then he gets a nice contract because he played well or whatnot. And then he gets another 4 year. Now he's 28. And then when he's 28, 29, then he can ask for another big contract to go through his early 30s. So that's just something I thought about when I saw that. But let's get to the hatred because I want to start off with a positive, then go with the negative, and then we're going to end with a positive because I want to talk about the hate and the love, the hate and the love. So do you guys believe what I'm talking about? What is that? Oh, I was trying to see if that was an ice cube. How do you guys feel about that? Take what I was saying when it comes to the NFL benefiting by that. Players coming in later. Do you think is it one ice cube? Just I need to simmer down just a little bit. You could kind of see what I mean, or is it like two ice cubes? Is it something you can like? I see what you're saying, but I don't quite agree. Or 3 or 4 ice cubes. Like, boy, if you don't stop, in my Soldier Boy voice. But speaking of boy, don't you stop? Boy, if you don't stop, let's get into the hatred by ESPN. Let's start with the Ashton Jeanty hate, and and can we call it that? Is it really hate? Because I kind of understand what went on there, but let's take a look at the list. Running backs in the 2026. The execs, the coaches, the scouts ranked the top NFL running backs for 2026. And so essentially, they're talking about how they are right now, not what the future holds and things like that. And so number one was Robinson. Last year he was ranked 4th. This year he's numero uno, 24 years old. See what I'm saying? He gonna get another couple contracts in this year, but running backs usually don't last as long. But if he can play at a high clip, he'll get a couple more contracts. And then Jameer Gibbs. The highest he was ranked is at 1, the lowest is at 8. Last year he was at 3. 24. Now Saquon, a lot of people feel like he fell off. His highest ranking was 2 last year. How's his highest ranking 2? Last year he was ranked 1. His lowest ranking is 8, but he's ranked 3 this year. He kind of had a down season after that big season he had, but he's still in the top upper echelon, top tier running back. CMC, Snow Bunny Pearl, as Marshawn Lynch called him, Snow Bunny Pearl. His highest ranking was 1. Last year he was ranked 5th. Interesting. His lowest ranking, he was unranked at the age of 30. He's starting to turn that corner there. He's at 4. Jonathan Taylor. A lot of people sleep on Jonathan Taylor. Definitely underrated, but definitely recognized. Maybe if he was on a different team, then he would get more bang for his buck when it comes to his due propers. Like if he was to play for, I don't know. I kind of want to say Cincinnati, but Cincinnati have O-line problems. Maybe if he played somewhere like Dallas or, a team that's competing, then he'll get his propers. He's 27, been in the league for a second though. His highest ranking has been 2, his lowest 7th, and his lowest was unranked. I'm sorry, his last year ranking was 7, but I guess they kind of giving him his respect, and he's at 5 this year. And so Derrick Henry, number 6, last year ranked 2. He kind of dropped. Drop. 32 years old, kind of getting up there. His lowest ranking is 10, highest was 5. James Cook at 7, rounding out with Devon. He was an honorable mention last year, and he didn't made his way to 8. His highest ranking was 3, 24-year-olds, fairly young. K9 is at 9, how fitting. His highest ranking is 6. Last year, he received some votes. His lowest was unranked at 25. And to round out the top 10 is Breece Hall. Highest ranking 7, honorable mention last year, 26 years old. Lowest ranking unranked. Now, here go the honorable mentions, because this is where the disrespect starts, because I don't necessarily think Jeanty was a top 10. But this is where the disrespect starts. Josh Jacobs does get an honorable mention. I kind of think he should have been higher. But you got to have Josh Jacobs in the conversation. Kyron Williams for the Rams. And here's the one that surprised me here. Quashon Judkins. What the AFC exec says, runs incredibly hard, faster in the open field than you think. I think he's going to have a big year. Interesting. And who else also received votes was DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Chase Brown, Travion Henderson, Travis Etienne, and Alvin Kamara. Kamara probably falling off. He probably was higher on this list for sure. And Etienne, he's barely hanging on. Now, the Ashton Jeanty hate. That's what I'm calling it. The Ashton Jeanty hate. Let me get to the camera, y'all. The Ashton Jeanty hate. Now, if you notice on that list, can we call it really hate? Because as well as we feel like Ashton Jeanty did last year, he was a rookie, right? Was he a rookie last year? Yeah, he was a rookie. And so Quashon Judkins was a rookie as well. So those are the only 2 rookies that made the list. Well, they didn't make the list. He got an honorable mention. And I felt like Ashton had a better season. So that's where I think the hate is. Not that Ashton did not make the top 10, because a lot of people may think that he's top 10. Those players are established players on the top 10. But I did not like that he didn't at least make the honorable mention. And you put Quashon Judkins there like he's going to have a big year. You don't think Ashton Jeanty going to have a big year? Didn't Quashon get injured? Now, I liked him. And I like the fact that he got into a little trouble in the offseason in Florida with his, you feel me? And come to find out she was doing the 42 fake, lying. And so he ended up in camp and helped out that team. But I don't think he played better than Ashton Jeanty. So let's look at the numbers. You know how your boy Black do. I got to have the facts over my feelings. So this is what we going to do. We going to talk about the facts. So Quashon Judkins, he played last year. He earned an honorable mention, but he definitely was hurt last year. So here's the numbers. Ashton Jeanty played 17 games. Judkins played 14. Jeanty had 266 carries. Judkins had 230. Jeanty had 975 yards. I was about to say he was close to 1,000. Did Judkins have 1,000? No, he had 827 yards. Jeanty had a measly 3.7. I won't say measly, but it was underperforming 3.7. And Judkins had a 3.6. Rushing touchdowns, Jeanty had 5. Judkins had 7. Receptions, this is where a differential is right here. 55 by Ashton Jeanty, 26 by Judkins. 346 receiving yards against 171 receiving yards. Here's the difference. Receiving touchdowns, 5. Judkins, goose egg, gun up hole, bagel, zip 0. Total touchdowns, 10 for Jeanty, 7 for Judkins. Now, total scrimmage yards, 1,321 against 998. This man didn't even have 1,000 total scrimmage yards, but somehow you guys think he's going to have a better season than Ashton Jeanty? It's that Raider hate, because they still think the Raiders only going to win 3 games or 4 games or something like that. They're not looking at that we upgraded our O-line, that we have a better scheme, a better coach, better everything. We brand new key on everything. Brand new. But that's that Raider hate I'm talking about. So somebody explain to me, and I like Quinshawn. Let me make sure I'm saying his name right. But I don't think he was Ashton Jeanty. What do you guys think about that so far? What do y'all think about that? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. So you give me one ice cube on what I say, okay. Natty Raider Nate, I'm a Raider though. Yeah, me too. I kind of like the hate too. I cheered for George Atkinson and Jack Tatum, the assassin. So I kind of like the hate. Yeah. You say good. I'm glad that they gave Jenny something to prove. More than more of that, please. More of that, please. Yes. Can I have another? Oh yeah, you're gonna be ready when the season comes. You see what's going on here. So let's talk about the key takeaways. Jeanty workload. Jeanty operated as a true dual threat workhorse for the Raiders, heavily outproducing Judkins in the passing game with 55 receptions, matching his 5 rushing scores with 5 through the air. Judkins' efficiency near the end zone. Despite playing in 3 fewer games, Judkins was highly effective as a goal line weapon for the Browns, finding the end zone 7 times on the ground. So, I mean, so he's good in the red zone. We need to do better in the red zone. I think we will. Because in the red zone, like I said, when it comes to the red zone, what makes you successful in the red zone is how you set your plays up getting to the red zone. That's why sometimes you might have a big play, you get in the red zone, and then they'll bend but don't break because you didn't matriculate your way there. You didn't manipulate your way there. Because if you set up plays and you got them off guard, then you have them thinking pass when you're going to run it, or they're going to run it when they thinking pass. See, if they kind of figure out what you're doing and you just haven't been able to stop them up until they got their back against the wall when the defense is condensed, now it's harder for you to go in there and be like, oh, well, let me pick one of my best plays and see if it works. That's not how you do it. I mean, you should have some red zone plays, but you got to set those plays up, and you set them up by making them think it's run when it's pass, make them think it's pass when it's run. Make that D coordinator run a zone, so that way you can pick apart the zone real quick. And even if they go in zone, you run the ball because they think in pass. So I don't know what the upside is. And then not only that, the disrespect goes so far that Judkins, he suffered a major season-ending injury in week 16. And I was mad about that. I was really hurt about that. He dislocated his right ankle and fractured his fibula. So it takes a year to get back on track. But some reason y'all think he's going to have a better season than Ashton Jeanty. Show me something. That's a lie. Lie. So I'm not getting it. I'm not understanding why they put him there other than it could be hate. Can somebody else tell me what else it could be? Because I don't see how they think he got that much upside over my boy. So Ashton Jeanty, like Webb said, he gonna have a chip on his shoulder. I hope it's like a chocolate chip with a bunch of them in it, like double chunk chips. Like the Chips Ahoy used to have the double chunks, double chocolate chip. That's what we all need to have that. That's why we need to be on one accord with one nation. Let's not start hating with it on each other. Let's just fuel what they doing, and we just pour it into our players, and then we can get the best results as fast as possible. It's not about fast though, but we want to be efficient. So Jeanty did a hell of a job in pass protection too, my friend. Absolutely. That was the one thing I really was looking for, is how he was going to handle pass protection. Because I thought maybe they were trying to change his stance so that way he would be able to be in position to pass protect already. But I didn't really understand. I didn't realize how strong Jeanty is. And then a lot of it is understanding who you pick up on the blitz. Because when you change things around, you can. Because it was happening to Jeanty earlier. He didn't know who to block. He would help this guy, and then here comes somebody else. And as the year went on, he got better as our offense got worse. So that means a lot. Like I really like that about Jeanty. So I'm real confident. And he did it all, went to his own stance. Like he said, he was essentially like, forget that. He wasn't letting Chip Kelly put a cramp in his style. And he went back to what he know, and he did his Dougie. So I think Jeanty is going to have a better season this year. But I could be wrong. I could be biased. But what do you guys think, Nation? Who do you think is going to have the better season this year? I can tell you who had the better season last year. It was obvious. But I digress. But you say, no, it's pure hate. Yeah, I digress, man. But let's get to the they also did edge rushers and cornerbacks. We know cornerbacks, we're not going to qualify for that. And then they're going to do the D tackles tomorrow. The day after that, tight ends. And then on the 11th, offensive tackles. So they're going to go day by day. Interior linemen, quarterbacks, off-ball linebackers, wide receivers, and safety. So we're gonna go through all of them. We're gonna see if there's a trend of the hate. If they trending with the hate. Let's take a look at the top edge rushers. Executive coaches and scouts rank the top edge rushers. Jeremy Fowler. Let me see. Hold on. I thought I had. So let's take a look at this top 10 list. I think Jeremy Fowler did say some things I do want to. Well, I'll just go back to that later. I kind of want. I kind of. Hold on. I don't think you guys can hear it. Let me just fix it. Let me just do it the right way. So, what you guys think? Let me just go and do it the right way. No shortcuts. No shortcuts. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute.
A lot of different levels.
All right, here we go. Put a one in the chat if you guys can hear it too. I want to know if you guys can hear it.
Pass rushers are in based on votes from executives, scouts, and coaches around. The top 10 pass rushers are in based on votes from executives, scouts, and coaches around the league. We don't need to talk about Myles Garrett. He got every first place vote. Everybody
Can y'all
knows
hear
he's
it?
great. We don't need to talk about Micah Parsons, who was a clear number 2. The battle really began at number 3 between Houston's Will Anderson Jr. and Las Vegas's Maxx Crosby, which got me to thinking, what would Baltimore's defense look like with Maxx Crosby? I know they negated the trade because of the knee issue they were concerned about, but man, talking to people around the league on Crosby, there's such deep respect. He's number 4 as a pass rusher. He might be number 4 overall of any defensive position because he's so good all around. This quote from an
The guys are good all around. So let's take a look at the top 10. Myles Garrett, hands down, Myles Garrett, highest ranking number 1, lowest ranking 1, last year ranking 1. He just the one. And this is who everybody compare Max to is Myles Garrett. It's hard to compare him to Myles Garrett. It's hard to compare him with anybody. I was kind of surprised here, but I guess not totally, really. Some people say Michael Parsons better than Max. I tend to agree a little bit, because you can kind of move him around. And I think Max can have a breakout year. He's got to kind of jump Michael Parsons. I think Michael Parsons coming off an injury this year too, but his highest rank was 2, his lowest rank was 5, last year rank was 3, and he's 27. Yeah, he had an ACL tear, so I think he can usurp him this year. Now, this is what a lot of people I heard saying this guy's name, and he definitely is worth the price of admission. He is the number 3 this year. Lowest ranking was 8. Last year he was ranked 8. His highest ranking is 2. Will Anderson Jr. So it's what they say. Anderson's steady improvement over 3 seasons elevated him to the top tier. He was tied with Maxx Crosby in the voting, but won the tiebreaker by getting more top 5 votes. That's how that happened. So Max drops down to number 5. Number 4, excuse me. His highest ranking is 2, lowest is 8. Last year was 4. Maxx Crosby at 4. Now, let me just go through the whole list. Aiden Hutchinson from Detroit. Highest ranking 2, lowest 8. Last year 7. Hunter, highest ranking 2, lowest ranking 10. Last year 9. 31. TJ Watt still makes the list. Highest ranking 3, lowest ranking unranked. Last year he was 2. Fell from grace. A big grace. Fall from grace. And they say he missed 3 late season games with a partially collapsed lung due to an accident. Nick Bosa. Last year he was 5th. This year he was 8th. Yeah, these guys are taking injuries. Brian Burns. Last year he was honorable mention, jumps to number 9. Lowest ranking unranked. Highest 6th. Nico Bonito at 10. So Max at 4. How do you guys feel about Max at 4? Do you think that's fair? Do you think he's over Will Anderson? They said it was a tie, but Will got more top 5 picks. Is that because he's younger? What do you guys think about that? Nutty Raider Nate says, all these rankers share the same ages. They're always on some agenda for the program. Yeah. Yeah. Let's take a look. Who you guys didn't see in that top 10 list? It should be a name that just glaringly is not on there, because during this whole trade, everybody was talking about, well, the reason why was because the reason why they did that to Max was because, hold on, The reason why they did that to Max was because they brought in Trey Hendrickson. And I was like, they was trying to get both of them. But they really got scared because that 2 first-round pick and Tyler Lindenbaum to the Raiders. So the Raiders essentially got the 2 first-round picks and Tyler Lindenbaum for Maxx Crosby. That's crazy. That's like Myles Garrett trade area. 2 first-rounders and Tyler Lindenbaum. That's definitely like a Myles Garrett package. And so since they never traded their first round pick and they was gonna do 2 the first time around, they panicked. So here's your honorable mentions. Jared Verse, the angry bird, the angry brown, Jared Verse. Here we go, Trey Hendrickson. He's hurt. He be getting hurt too, but he's on the honorable mention list. So you guys are comparing a number 4, arguably number 3, but let's just say number 4 for argumentation's sake. And you guys really think that they thought that Trey Hendrickson was better than a Maxx Crosby? I think we underrate Maxx Crosby. That's why I said a lot of us don't deserve Maxx Crosby because we don't appreciate what it is that he brings to the table. What do he bring to the table? Let's go over what they said about him. Let's read what they said. Voters who value a complete game, relentless play from the start to finish, rank Crosby very high. He has the best motor of any defensive player. He's a bad MFer, the NFC exec said, versus the run, the pass, whatever. He's a pain in the ass all game. And that's why I keep trying to tell people, when you got a scheme for a person like that, they don't even have to get a stat in the stat line and they affect the game. So when people get caught up in these analytics and stuff like that, and what was the stats? Like, stats tell a story, but it doesn't tell the story. Let me say it again. Stats tell a story, but it doesn't tell the story. So he affects the game in many ways. Crosby has 69.5 sacks in 7 seasons, joining Greg Townsend, 107.5, and Howie Long, 84, as the only Raiders to surpass the 60-sack mark since 1982. Crosby's 35 career games with 5 or more pressures since entering the league in 2019 are the most in the NFL during that span. You're getting a complete body of work with Max. He does everything well, an AFC exec said. Pass rush, splash plays, great against the run, high motor, tackles in the backfield. However, one knock on Crosby, the motor that makes him great, creates a threat of wear and tear. He doesn't like to come off the field. The Ravens had concerns about his surgically repaired knee when they nixed the trade for Crosby in March. So granted, the thing they love about you is the thing that they're going to use against you. His motor. He got that Mamba mentality. He's going to try to go hard every time, every play. Now, I've heard him say some things like he's learned to slow down. He learned to be patient. And I guess hopefully the injury mixed with the near trade experience of leaving the Raiders kind of slowed him down, kind of humbled him, so to speak, humbled him. And I hope that he really takes the opportunity to extend his career, because now that we essentially built a defense without having Max in mind. And being that he is there, now he can use that to his advantage and perform at a high level and don't have to play every play. So what do you guys think about it? Do you guys think the 4th pick is a hate move or what? See what you guys say. Frank Webb says, so far Max has shown us that he can look good on a bad team. Now he has to show us that he could play good on a good team. Ooh, Max, I like that. All these lists suck. Yeah, I can see why you say that. But that's their opinion. I don't really think Max. I can see Max being 4 this year, but he's right there. He's like right there. I think yeah. This is the year he's going to be coming back off an injury, and I do consider it because I wouldn't say, well, Jenkins. I don't think he's going to have a better year, and injury is part of the reason. Then I don't apply that to Max. So I think Max is right there. I think he got some chips on his shoulders too. He got some Frito Lays or some Lay's chips on his shoulder. He should have all kind of chips on his shoulder, like paint chips, ice chips, CHP chips, police chips. Uh, oh man, he should have all kind of chips. What's up, El Capitan? So there's the ESPN hate. Then I had to scroll through and I saw something else. I saw Cosell.
A lot of different
How many, pe-
levels.
how many people know about Cosell, Howard Cosell? I know you do, OG. So Greg Cosell is the nephew of Howard Cosell. And I'm gonna just tell you guys this because you guys might not know this though. So like in 1983, the year we won the Super Bowl, right? During a Monday Night Football game, Howard Cosell, he said, quote, "That little monkey gets loose, doesn't he?" While describing Alvin Garrett, a wide receiver for the Washington Redskins. Now, he got in a lot of trouble for that. And I'm sure you can understand why. Which is funny because now, never mind. But it was Monday night, so everybody's seen it. But he denied that he had any racist intent because, he said he'll call anybody that's uh that's a term of affection that he used for small, fast athletes, regardless of their race. And he also said that he called his own grandkids that. So they kind of booted him out of there. But Howard Cosell was Monday night. This is Howard Cosell. And the Oakland Raiders are going to play the San Francisco 49ers. Boy, I tell you, it's going to be a game tonight. Like Howard Cosell was must see TV. Him and Jimmy the Greek. For real. So, but here's his nephew, Greg Cosell and Ross Tucker, ex-NFL player, talking about what they see for the Raiders coming this year.
Blank slate on the Raiders, Greg, because there's a lot there.
You think people realize how good Brock Bowers is?
I think some people do. Yeah.
Because, he's obviously on a team that hasn't been very good, but the guy's ridiculous. So this is a team, obviously, the quarterback position, we don't know. I would think, and I don't have any inside info. I don't know. I would think Kirk Cousins will be the day one starter, but I could be wrong. Because I think they want to sort of establish some stability and continuity with what they, when you have a coach like Kubiak, where play action under center is foundational to what he does. This is what Kirk Cousins has done his whole career. So I think that just to get some stability and continuity in your offense, it makes sense to play Cousins. Now, I could be totally wrong.
Well, I like that. Excuse me, that he really went out there and said it, but you got to protect yourself in the event that you're wrong. Me, I'm standing on it. I already know Kirk Cousins is gonna start, man. It's not even really that difficult. Cousins gonna start, like like I said, unless barring injury, knock on wood if you with me, and Kirk Cousins is just a better better quarterback than the quarterbacks we got on this roster. But I understand he's a professional. He don't want to get caught with his pants down, so to speak.
Obviously, their offensive line should be significantly better. Colton Miller missed most of last season. He's a quality left tackle. They brought in Linderbaum, obviously a very good signing. They signed Spencer Burford, who played a lot of snaps as a starter with the 49ers, so he's got a lot of starting experience. So, ideally, they're better in that regard. Now, where they have questions is at the wide receiver position, and we'll see how all that plays out. I'm really curious what they're going to do. Obviously, they want to run the ball. They have Ashton Jeanty, okay? I really liked Mike Washington, who they drafted in the 4th round out of Arkansas. And I got an opportunity at an event this summer to talk to Aiden O'Connell, and who's, I guess, their 3rd quarterback. And he was saying that Washington, just is an impressive guy. And
Wait. We ain't going to just breeze through that. We ain't going to breeze through just that. So this is for the Raider fans that's delusional out there. That's the Lulu. They live on the Lulu Island. They act like they wear the Lulu melons. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. But even if we do keep AOC, this elite quarterback that everybody, all the great coaches, all the middle tier coaches, all the coaches that we didn't have is overlooking this guy. But he's our 3rd string quarterback. Yeah, he might be 2nd on the depth chart positionally, but there's no way you guys got to think that AOC is better than Mendoza, even right now. Although we ain't seen Mendoza, but we just know that his floor and his ceiling is. But I guess we have to see that to believe it. Because we don't even believe it out of Kirk Cousins, and we want to blame it on his age now at this point. So he's our 3rd string quarterback. Like, he sees it. Like, I even heard, this is the craziest take, right? I heard he was even better than Joe Montana. No, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Remember when Buddy came in here the other day and said somebody said that, and I actually heard them say they said that, and they're standing 10 toes on it. I don't know how else you're supposed to stand, unless you Coach Prime. Then you stand on 8 toes, but you can get knocked off your feet on 10 toes. That's what football is all about. But I don't. They're saying these statistics. Oh, he's this statistically. Yeah, Justin Herbert statistically was a Hall of Famer, but he can't win a playoff game. He 0-3. Overrated.
I'm curious to see, what their plan is with Jeanty in Washington. And I'm not suggesting Washington's going to beat out Jeanty. That's not my point. But I think you want to establish some kind of physicality. I think when you're new and there are questions, you ideally would like to establish some kind of physicality and have your offense at least perhaps be able to control the pace and tempo of games.
I think you.
Okay. That makes all the sense in the world, right? Establish the team and then bring the quarterback in, our quarterback of the future. Establish the team. To see if we had this team together already a couple of years, and then it might be a quarterback competition. But I already showed you guys. I told you guys, if you haven't, make sure y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button because I'll put the information out there. We do the information, we do the education over here. 25, 82, and 2. That's the record of number 1 pick quarterbacks in the last 10 years. That's their record. So it's only advantageous to start them. We can look at several situations where the longer they sit, the better that they play. I don't want them to sit like 3 years like Jordan Love, or going off and on the field like Aaron Rodgers, but I don't mind if he sit for a year. And I know that some people they might not like that stat. I know some that do like that stat because now it's part of their talking points, although they don't like Kirk Cousins, but they didn't change their mind about it. ever since they had a conversation with me. Now they argue with other people using the things I told them, although they was arguing with me about how Kirk Cousins not as good as AOC. Make that make sense. But anyway,
Make a really good point about Cousins week 1 and allowing the other guys to really be able to operate in the offense and kind of get the ball rolling for the offense, and then maybe you put in Mendoza at some point. You mentioned that Brock Bowers is ridiculous. What about him, Greg? Why aren't there more guys like him? What is it about Bowers that is so impressive?
Well, the athleticism is off the charts, and the run after catch is ridiculous. So, I mean, he's just the way he moves. It doesn't look like a tight end. I mean, he's just one of those guys. He looks different. And the run after catch, he's probably the best run after catch tight end in the game. So he's just a fun guy to watch. Defensively, they made a ton of changes as well. I mean, at the linebacker position, they signed Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean. They'll be the starters. Obviously, they've got Crosby back. When healthy, Crosby is as good. He almost predominantly lines up on the left side, right side of the offense. He's as good as there is. We'll see. Obviously, the secondary, the corner position, Eric Stokes was initially a first-round pick. He's now with his second team. Darian Porter was a third-round pick for them a year ago. He is a long, athletic, explosive athlete. They're counting on him to really become a quality corner.
okay. I'm starting to feel like I was hating on Darian Porter. One thing about me is I do sound very, very confident when I say things that I say. Well, because most of the time I go do the information before I just start saying it. I don't say it with my heart. I say it with some kind of intellect, and then I put my heart into it. Not the other way around. Gossip guys. Uh, so I'm like, okay, Darian Porter. How you Blue Kelly started the season. He was having problems as rookies do. And then they put Porter there. Porter got took out for Caillou. The Caillou had like 3 picks last year, which is not great, but it's not that bad. So first year blues for any center. But we don't have Caillou now, but we have Porter. And I've heard many people say that he can start that other corner to start the year. Now I thought that was I thought he probably was going to be the last one on the totem pole because he's an experimental player and things like that. But then I started kind of looking at a couple of things, and they were saying they kind of played not not good, but maybe solid-ish. And everybody is caught up on his. Does he look like the role? Does he look the role? Now, is he an athlete enough to make this earn this year and kind of stand on business? Maybe he did. Maybe he did learn from last year. So I'm going to keep my mind open for Darian Porter. I don't think he's the starter. I don't. I would think that Hezekiah Masses have a better chance of starting than Porter, but experience counts for something. And not to mention, Porter might be a more willing tackler than Masses. But if Masses go out there and get 2 or 3 picks real fast, then I don't know. And then we don't know about Jermod. Because if Jermod play anything up to the level like that just pushes Porter further back. Now, can he succeed in the nickel? Could. But Taryn out there already. Then you got Dalton Johnson out there already. These guys are already. One is already a proven pro. He just don't. If he don't get hurt, then he gonna be fine over there. So now you're competing with Dalton Johnson probably for playing nickel. So it's a make or break year for him, I believe, because he can get lost in the shuffle. So I'm gonna keep my objectivity open for Darian Porter. How do you guys feel about Darian Porter? Darian Porter is starting that corner next year to start the season. just like they have them slotted. Is that one ice cube? Is that four ice cubes? You need to cool that all the way down, or you think it's 50-50 chance, maybe? Or you might think it's a slight chance, but closer to no chance. Me personally, I'm going with four ice cubes. I don't think he's gonna start. I just absolutely don't think he's gonna start at all. And if you do think that, then it's straight no chaser. Just no ice cube. Let me get it straight. So what do you guys think? How many ice cubes would you give it? I give it four.
They signed Teron Johnson, who has been a really good nickel for the Bills. Got phased out a little bit, so we'll see what he still has left. But I think they could be pretty good defensively. Let's put it this way: they could be certainly competitive on defense.
Well, and I would say just having done, I don't know if I did one or two Raiders games last year, but it would be hard for them to be worse.
Yeah,
I mean, they were really bad last year.
They were bad.
Really, really bad. And I like the kind of guys they brought in. I know Nakobe Dean. I know Taron Johnson. Like they brought in some guys that are the right type of guys.
I would agree.
Linderbaum, Cousins. I mean, they brought in guys that are going to do a pretty darn good job of showing these guys the ropes and making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. And they had a ton of draft picks. You think about Kieran
And a ton on
Crawford and
defense, by the
Jermod
way.
McCoy
Guys,
and Stukes and all those guys.
yeah, Stukes, I really liked his tape. Kieran Crawford is a fascinating guy. He's an ascending type player. He played at Auburn and everybody focused on Fogg, but Kieran Crawford is kind of an explosive edge player. Now, he may not be ready week one. He might be one of those guys that needs a little time, but there's a lot there.
Yeah, so you hear it. I hear positive, like on levels. I did a show earlier today talking about our free agent signings, the people that we retained and re-signed, and our draft. And I think overall, out of all of that, it gave us an A minus. So that's a lot of positives. And I'm hearing a lot of positives from Cosell. And I agree with him. Now, it doesn't have to translate on the field, yes, but we're talking about up until this point right now. The Raiders are looking very, very confident because we're handling business from the top down instead of trying to just get a bunch of good players and don't know what to do them, don't know how to develop them, trying to win from the player up. So I'm really, really enthusiastic about what I heard. Okay. So 25%, that's one ice cube. You give it one ice cube. Okay. So what do I think about Taron Johnson or Dalton Johnson? What I think about Taron Johnson, well, I'll call him Teron, but you guys obviously probably know more than I would. So I'm going to go with Taron. And it probably is Taron. What I think about him, I think he's a wild card in this situation because in the secondary, when you're young, offensive coordinators, like experienced offensive coordinators, can scheme around you, like how they were doing Paul Malo last year. Do y'all remember when it was the Chiefs? I believe we were playing the Chiefs, and a wide receiver ran this route that looked almost like a S. We was running a single high safety, and he ran across Paul Malo, and that safety. All you gotta do is step in the wrong place, take a step the wrong way at the wrong time. And the wrong time is probably more than the right time. So you mess around, get a wrong angle, the receiver catch the ball, you might not catch him, you might catch him, you might can get to him in time, but usually when you get to him, he already got the opportunity to catch the ball. So with with Taron Johnson, with his ability, with his experience, I think that he can bring some kind of calmness to our defense when things are starting to unravel a little bit. Now, granted, Stooks is a great leader at the college level, and he already said he's going to lean on players that know more than him, and he's going to lead by example. And Coach Cool, he definitely talked to him about being a captain. He said it when he made the call. He wanted him to be a captain. I don't think he just said that just to say it, because he didn't say it to everybody. And so he's still going to need veteran leadership, though, to be shown, certain things, the quirks of the game. And I think Teron, dang, come on. I think Teron will be good as long as he don't get injured. And I think that's why he got released, because of the injuries. So as long as he stay on the field, then I think it's going to be an added bonus. That's 4-13. 4-13, Webb. Ooh. You see 4-13? 4-13, champ? Hold on. I gotta ask you. I gotta ask you this. I gotta pull up the schedule and see why you say 4-13, my bro. Yeah. And yeah, I do remember Howard Cosell. Well, I don't remember, but he did announce when Lennon died, though. That shit could roll out. Let me see. Webb said, these days, all the passing plays you need depth and multiple packages in the secondary, 3 solid safeties and 4 reliable corners. Otherwise, dudes get tired of chasing wide receivers. Yep. Yep. Orbiting in the zone coverages. Yep. And if you have young players there, sometimes they blow a coverage because they don't know the scheme all the way like that. We have a new scheme, new defense. Let's look at the schedule. Let me see. Oh, was that? No, yeah, that was you, Webb, that said 4-13. Let's take a look at this schedule, man. Let's take a look at this schedule, man. 4-13, Brody. Come on, 4-13, bro. Okay, who do you have us winning? What 4 games do you have us winning? Because I have us winning against the Dolphins. I have us winning against the Chargers once. I have us beating the Jets at least. I got us beating the Cardinals at least. I got us beating Denver one time. They overrated to me. That's 5. I got us beating either Tennessee or Cleveland. We probably could beat both of them, but just take one of them. That's 6. And then I ain't even count a Kansas City game. I think we might mess around and beat Kansas City this first time. So that's like 7 games to me. And that's allowing us to lose to like a Cleveland Browns or even the Saints. And I think we're gonna punch one of these good teams in the mouth, like the Patriots. Like I'm talking about, I don't know which one it is, but one of these teams gonna get punched in the mouth. Probably the Niners. It could be, you might shock the world and beat either the Rams, because Kubiak definitely has experience coaching against them in the NFC. Seattle might catch a stray. I don't know. What are the 4 games you see, bro? Oh yeah, okay. He said no. I mean 25 and 82 for the starting rookies. QB less than 25%. That's 4-13. Oh yeah, got you. My bad. Oh, you see 7-10 like me? Okay. You see, I had to go. You see, I had to go to the paperwork real quick. I had to go to the paperwork real quick because I was like, we don't agree with everything, but I mean, we kind of see the same thing. We can see the forest from the trees. 7-10, okay, okay, that's good. Furpo was good with you, Burrow, Furpo. So let me ask you something, Webb, and let me ask all you guys before I let you guys off the BART for the night. If we go 7, we get 7 wins, right? Will you bring back Kirk Cousins next year with 7 wins? Knowing what we know about quarterbacks in their first year, even if they sit, it goes up from with that 25 and 82-2 record. That's in the last 10 years. That's 3.71%, like that. So less than 4 games. But let's say it's 3 games, but let's say it's 4 games. And if they sit, it goes up to about, I think it was 6 games. Are we willing to go from 7 wins to going to Mendoza and potentially getting, like, let's say 6 wins, or even the same 7 wins? So now what? So now we're 2 years into this process at 7 wins, and so then that third year we're going to be expected to win 10 games. 10 usually gets in with the 16-game schedule. 10 in you're in. Now with the extra game, it might not get you in, or it might get you the bottom wild card spot. Let's say we get the bottom wild card spot. We got to play a game and we get to the wild card. So in the third year, we get in wild card. I don't know, get knocked out, win a playoff game, get knocked out, whatever. So now we're in year 4. But we do have the second year going in with Mendoza. Are we willing to wait 4 years just to get 1 playoff win? Or do we rock with Kirk Cousins and go from 7 wins to probably 10 wins the following year? What do you guys think about that? That's what I want to know. What's up with Raider Ryan? Want to know from you guys. If Kirk Cousins comes in and win us 7, even 8 games, do we retain him next year? And before you say his contract, we could restructure the contract. And if he ain't rocking with the restructure, he can rock on with his bad self. So do we bring him back? That's gonna set us back another year. Are we patient enough for that? I'm curious. 7-10, yeah. So if we go 7-10, 8-9, Kirk Cousins, do we bring him back? I say we bring him back. I say we bring it back. Yeah. Well, you can put it in the chat. I was just kind of curious. Put it in the comments or whatever. I'm sure we'll have this conversation again, especially as the season go on. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how people kind of want to play that out. But thanks for hacking in. Thanks for hacking into the show. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the loyalty. And you already know we are one nation all day, every day. So I'm a Raider, you're a Raider, from the Bay to LA to Las Vegas.
I'm a Raider, from the Bay to LA to Las Vegas. Rest in peace to Al Davis.